Again, my name is Fanny Barrientos, and you are on SEO 101. Okay, so what will we be covering is first we'll talk about what search engine optimization is. Then I'll go over how it works, and then I'll talk to you a little about the latest trend or algorithm update or Google update basically that's going to be affecting your SEO. And then I'm going to be giving you 3 quick things that you can do now to improve your rankings. Okay, so let's talk about what search engine optimization is. It is the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a particular website, in this case your own, by ensuring that your website appears high on the list of results returned by a search engine. So why is it important? Well, with search engines, especially Google, there are over 1 trillion searches a year on Google, and over 75% of those clicks are from organic listings, which is what search engine covers. And over 85% of searchers will not go past the first page of results if they don't find what they're looking for. Instead, what they will most likely do is refine their search or their question to get better results. So for accountants, for example, there are about 22,000 monthly searches on bookkeepers alone, and 301,000 monthly searches for CPAs. That's just a little over 3.6 million a year. And it's estimated that there will be about 1 billion websites by now, mid-2016. Okay, so then, why else would you need SEO? Well, users trust search engines. That's where they go to for, any research that they're doing on anything that they may need. And a site that ranks well increases that trust. Also, your competition is doing it. SEO in itself is not new. It was basically born when Google started. The tactics that are used definitely evolve and get more difficult as you try to apply them, but the concept stays the same. And SEO does deliver new clients at a great ROI. Once you have those rankings, there's some work that you have to do to maintain those rankings, but all in all, the money and the time that you invest up front to obtain those rankings pay off, because generally people will click more often on the first few, 3 results, and they won't go past that, so they're more likely to navigate to your website. And then also, it helps clients find you when they're searching for the services that you offer. Obviously, they're actively searching for you, and they're entering their question into a search engine, so they're very aware that you're there and you're what they're looking for. And everyone is searching for businesses online. Of course, we live in 2016. Everyone goes to Google to start their research on anything. So, a client searching for your services wouldn't be any different. Okay, so before we get into how SEO works, let's talk about what search engines do. Search engines have 3 major functions. They find and categorize all websites and pages out on the web, and they help people find what they're looking for and return it instantly in a fraction of a second. And they also recommend the best sites to list on their first page. And they rank them from best to worst, and that's really where that came from. They're ranking the best sites from worst sites on how relevant they are and how much quality they have in accordance to the person's search. So really, this is where SEO was born. Marketers realized that this was a very powerful tool, because now you're grabbing people that are actively looking for your services instead of interrupting their day to let them know that these services are available when they may not necessarily be thinking about it at that point. Okay, so really, SEO can be broken down into 2 major components, and each of those components can be broken down into factors. The major components are going to be on-site optimization, which are things that you do on your website and their pages to improve your rankings, and off-site optimization. So it's optimization that you do outside of your website to influence your rankings. And parts 2 and 3 of the series will go into a little bit more depth. Parts 2 will go in depth for on-site. Part 3 will go in depth for off-site. So make sure that you register for that for those presentations if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that. Okay, so let's talk about on-site optimization. Really, there are two places where a search engine crawler looks to understand what your website is about. Now, a crawler is a spider or software that goes out onto the internet and follows links and websites and search engine results to figure out really what's out there and how to categorize it so that it remembers it stores it away in its index or its library, and then it can return those pages should there be a question about those topics. So the two places are going to be the actual written copy of your website, and it's also going to be in the metadata of your website. And I will go and explain that in just a little bit. So what is optimization of your content or your copy? Well, that really means giving your content or creating content that's valued by searchers and search engines by writing copy that sounds natural and making sure that it is relevant to specific searches with the use of keywords. So here I wanted to give you guys an example. Let's see where's in this particular case, here we have some copy, and someone that is searching for accounting in Eagle Rock, California. They're most likely going to run into this page because on this page you can clearly see it says Eagle Rock, California accounting. That would be the keyword that's included. And then here they include a little bit more of a description. It says we're a full-service accounting firm in California. So anyone that would be looking for an accounting firm in Eagle Rock, California would most likely see this because the keywords are included and those keywords match their search. And one thing to remember about content on your website, that as long as it isn't a picture, Google can read it. So you want to make sure that you include as much copy as possible, and any of your important keywords must be in text. If you want to include it into a picture, that's fine, but they must be in text so that Google can read it and understand what your website is about. Okay, so let's talk about metadata. It's actual copy, but it is coded into the structure of your page and not evident on a page just by looking at it. That would be your copy. But search engines use this to understand the pages of your website and your website as a whole. So let's break it down. There is a metadata tag, that's what we call the coding in HTML, which is called a page title. This page title is something that is shown on search engine results pages and on the top of the tab in your browser. And really what this does is it helps search engines understand the overall topic of that page. In my previous example, the page title in this particular case was accounting services in Eagle Rock, California, and then in Los Angeles. So really, when a search engine sees this, because search engine is most likely to see this first, they understand that, okay, this page is going to be about accounting services, and it's about accounting services in Eagle Rock, California, and LA. The next part is going to be the meta description. This is something that also shows in a search engine results page, and I will give you an example of this. And basically what this is, this doesn't have any direct impact on higher rank, meaning that search engines don't necessarily pay attention to what this description is, but it's important because it helps searchers determine whether that link is valuable enough to click through to your website. And that's what we call click-through rate. So here's an example of that. Here's that page title. I told you this would be shown on a search engine results page. So a searcher will look at this page title and, as they're skimming through the results page, they'll look, okay, accounting services in Eagle Rock, California. Okay, yeah, that sounds like somewhere I would go. And then they would read this description to learn a little bit more about what they're actually moving on to, which page they're actually moving on to. So by providing that description here, this meta description, it's pulled into a search engine results page, and they'll read it, and then researchers will determine if they want to move forward with clicking on this link. Okay, so let's talk about how you choose content for SEO, and really this is speaking to how you choose your keywords. So first, what you'll want to do is make sure that your content for SEO is aligning with your marketing objectives. Say, for example, you want to bring in, clients year-round beyond tax season, and there are, people that need to manage their wealth. So I know that some accountants do manage that. So if you think about the searcher, someone who needs to manage their wealth, what keywords would they be putting into Google in order to find your services? That's when you're thinking about searcher intent. What are they searching? And then after that, you start developing the types of keywords they would be looking for, like how to manage my wealth, how to manage my portfolio, you know, keywords like that. And then it really helps narrow down what you are targeting. Then, after you've comprised a list of keywords, you're going to want to make sure that there's some volume behind it. Double check the intent. So if you do a quick search, do the search results that pop up, do they really make sense for what you're trying to target? And then the quality of the copy. So this is really speaking to the once you've gotten your keyword list and you're creating your copy, make sure that it sounds natural. Once upon a time, SEOs would just dump a bunch of keywords at the bottom of a page and it would rank. And that's no longer true. That hasn't been true since about 2013 with the Hummingbird update. Um, Search engines can understand natural language. They're very good at it, especially because some searches are now done through audio. So sounding natural becomes more important in your SEO copy. And really what it comes down to is, people first, search engine second. And like I said, there are ways to target higher quality leads. And one of those ways is by having long tail keywords. And long tail keywords really just means that, your keyword is more than 2 words long, or your key phrase is more than 2 words long. Those are considered long tail. Long tail keywords don't have as much volume behind it, but because they're so specific, people that are using those keywords to search are more likely to convert. Okay, so let's talk about offsite. So there are really 3 components that contribute to your offsite optimization. Those are backlinks, and then local business listings, which are very important for accountants, and then of course your social media pages contribute indirectly to your offsite. So let's talk about backlinks first, what they are. A backlink is a hyperlink from any other site that's not a social media site that links back to your site. And so for example, say that you have a listing on your local Chamber of Commerce and they list your website. When someone links your website address back to your own website, that's a backlink. So not all backlinks are created equal. There are some practices that are frowned upon with SEO referred to black hat, and black hat typically is very much centered around backlinks where a link that is from another website that is completely irrelevant, has nothing to do with your site, and the content on there is just garbage, and you look at it and you can just tell that this website is not trustworthy. A link from there wouldn't be great, but multiple links from websites like that would be a red flag to Google that you're following black hat practices. So what's a good backlink? Well, that's going to be something that is relevant to your industry and or locally relevant to the location that you serve. So to give you an example, the Chamber of Commerce, it's not necessarily directly related to accounting, but Google looks at that and realizes that it is relevant to your area, and it's going to take that into consideration, and that's a great link to get. One that is relevant to your industry would be, say, if you're mentioned in your state association of your respective state association for accounting, that would be very relevant to your industry. And then if you can get listed in a directory for these state associations, that kind of meets both criteria on where it is location specific because it will most likely list your address, and it is specific to your industry because it's under a state association for accounting where accounting is clearly relevant. So that's a little on backlinks. Moving on to local business listings. Now, local business listings is really referring to your business that's being listed on Google, Yelp, Yellow Pages, Merchant Circle, those directories where you can find your address and reviews and everything. The important thing, and this is very incredibly important for local SEO, which is how we approach SEO for accountants, is to be consistent with, and that's really being consistent with what we call NAP data. And I don't mean NAP as in taking a nap, I mean name, address, and phone number. It is an acronym for those three. And really what you're hoping to create is making sure that your name and your address and local phone number are all the same across all directories. And furthermore, you would want to ensure that those profiles are not duplicated in the same directory. So for example, this is very common. Say that you Google your name in Google Maps and you have two map listings that show up. One of those is what we would call a duplicate. Duplicates are terrible for your performance in SEO, particularly in what we call the snack pack, which is the maps results that you get in a search engine results page, because Google is looking at that and it doesn't know which one to choose. And so whichever, it's going to pick one or the other, but if someone else has one listing on Google and it's clean and it shows their information and it's linked back to their website and it matches the information on the website, then it's going to pick that one over your information that's duplicated where it doesn't really know which one to choose. So making sure that your NAP data, name, address, phone number, are all the same across all listing and that there is only one listing per directory for your business is really how you're going to get ahead on your business listings, and it does impact your rankings quite a bit. In fact, I think it consists of, let's see, if I remember correctly, it's about 20% of factors, of ranking factors. So it's quite a chunk there. With social media. So social media in itself does not impact your rankings, meaning that say you get a bunch of +1s on Google Plus, if people still use that, or you get a bunch of likes on Facebook. Search engines are not going to necessarily look at that to determine if you're going to rank high. However, it does increase your exposure and encourages your exposure for the content that's on your site. And really what it does is it gets people talking about your content so that they could potentially link back to your website from their own resources. So really what this is saying is it encourages backlinks or hyperlinks from other sites. And it does create more visibility for your content or your multiple platforms. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you write this really great blog post that you put up on your social media, right? And you find that you get a lot of likes and comments on there because it's very topical and you just kind of hit the nail on the head in whatever you're talking about. You get a lot of engagement and everything. So let's say that someone else sees this and they really like what you posted. And so they decide that they're going to write on their blog post a summary of what you talked about, or maybe adding to what you talked about. And they may take that hyperlink, that link, and say, to read more about this, they'll link back to your blog post. Well, that just earned you a backlink. So although there are a lot of other benefits to social media, that is where social media and SEO really sort of come together to work symbiotically. Okay, so how do you tell if your SEO is working? Well, there are a few key considerations because, frankly, with SEO, not all cases are going to be the same. One thing to consider before you decide if it's working is your web presence. What's the condition of your website and how is it ranking online? someone that is ranking on page 2 is going to have a little bit more work to do than someone who is ranking on page 1. And alternatively, someone who is ranking at, say, positions 5 through 10 on page 1 is going to have considerably more work to do to get to those top 3 positions because those positions are very competitive. And then also, when you're thinking about SEO, you should really establish some benchmark metrics before starting a campaign. This is very much, like taking a snapshot of your cash flow at the beginning and then, working through revenue and how much revenue you're working on your business and hoping to increase that. You should really know where you're starting in order to understand where you're going. It's the same concept there. So some of the metrics that you could use in terms of SEO is by looking at your Google Analytics. But I'll get to that in just a second. One other thing to consider is your market. So say an accountant that is located in Bakersfield, which is a little closer or a little east in California, is not going to have the same type of competition than an accountant that's here in LA. The population is a lot higher. There's going to be more firms, and then there's going to be a lot of top firms in Los Angeles versus someone who's in Bakersfield. So really considering your market is really going to make it, a little bit more understandable and feasible for when you set your goals and decide where you want to go. And, generally the more saturated the market, the more difficult it is to increase your rankings and traffic because there's more competition. And then also speaking about measurement, you'll want to make sure that no matter whatever you decide to do, you're always measuring, whether you're actively working your SEO or, sort of just have a website that haven't really gotten to it yet. Make sure that you have some sort of reporting on there. And I did mention Google Analytics. That is a free tool, and that is something that can be implemented very easily on your website. So for those of you that are members, go to your webmaster and ask to see if your Google Analytics is already implemented, and if not, they could easily help you set that up. And then when you implement Google Analytics, you'll want to make sure that you are looking at what is called your organic traffic. Organic means that it comes from a search engine, whether that's Google, Bing, Yahoo. Some people still use AOL. That's going to lump it all together and give you an idea of how much traffic is coming from those sources into your site. You'll also want to monitor key metrics. Those include bounce rate, sessions, page views, and if you have a Search Console or what used to be Google Webmaster Tools, you can monitor some keywords in your position and how many people are clicking through from those keywords. So, implement those tools. They're all free, Google Webmaster Tools, Google Analytics, into your website so that you can get an understanding of where your website is. Okay, so just to have a quick recap, on-site optimization is, creating content that is valuable to searchers with copy and having metadata that complements the written copy on the site so that search engines understand what your website is about, and to convince searchers that find your website to click through from a search engine results page. Off-site optimization does consist of links that link back to your site, both local business directory links and the information on business directories, and hyperlinks from other websites in itself. Remember, not all backlinks are created equal. You want quality over quantity, and quality in your case means that it's relevant either by industry and or location. And then social media can help you distribute your content and encourage backlinks and quality backlinks to your site. And then also with business listings, just ensure that your name, address, and phone number are consistent. Okay, and then how do you know it's working? Well, it'll depend on where you are in the market, where you're ranking, and what your goals are. But ultimately, for everyone, it's going to depend on, whether their goal is to increase rankings or increase organic traffic. Okay, so I did want to give you guys a brief real-life example from a client that we had. They wanted to increase visibility of his website. In other words, he wanted to improve his rankings. He wasn't doing very well. I believe he was somewhere on at the top of page 2, which is positions 11 through 20. And he was based out of New Jersey, so just so you know, the East Coast is very competitive in the U.S. Really, it doesn't really matter where you are on the East Coast. It's generally very competitive. And so it was going to be a challenge. We knew it was going to be a challenge. However, with the SEO team, after making sure their NAP data was consistent, you know, that their content was original and written out with keywords that were researched with volume behind them, we were able to get them into these positions. These are positions, not pages, meaning that anything from numbers 1 through 10 is the first page. So you can see here for forensic accounting firm, it's number 1. That's what he wanted to target. That was in alignment with his marketing goals, so we tracked that keyword. A New Jersey CPA, that was obviously very important, and of course tax preparation was very important to him, so we saw some movement to the tops of the pages here. And then we also saw some movement for some of the secondary keywords that he wasn't necessarily targeting but would like to rank for, like estate planning. And we got him from page 3, this would be page 3, position 24, to page 2, and it just kept going from there. Okay, so let's talk about the latest trend that's affecting everyone's SEO, and really this is referring to an update that happened back in February of this year. And interestingly enough, this is not necessarily directly with SEO, but it does impact, and here's why. Google removed their right side ads on desktop. And that's really important because now anyone who searches for a search engine results page, right here, let me show you. This is what it used to look like. These are the right side ads. So whenever you did a search on a desktop, you'd have your ads over here that would show up on the side. And then this part right here that's grayed out are your organic results. So anyone who is doing SEO would appear here. This right here is, of course, it shows up because of Google AdWords. That is not SEO, that is paid traffic. Now, what it does is it shows all ads above the search results in alignment here. So what does that mean for you? Really what this is doing is because those ads are now at the very top of the page, there's gonna create a greater need for stronger SEO because it's pushing your organic search results down. And it's pushing them down further along the page. And as we know, the further down you are on the page, the less likely someone is to click on your site. Furthermore, if the snack pack is displayed, which is, you know, going to happen for accountants the majority of the time, your organic results are going to be pushed even further down the page. So let me show you guys what that looks like. Here we have ads 1, 2, 3, 4, and Google will always show 3 to 4 ads. This is through AdWords. And then we scroll down the page, and here we have the snack pack. This is from a search engine results page where it shows you your local businesses, right? And then here's the first organic listing under all of that. And then we have the consecutive, it's still 10 organic results, but it's underneath your ads in your snack pack. So ultimately what this means is you're going to want to make sure that you're ranking in the snack pack. Remember how I said that business listings are very important to that? You're going to want to ensure that your NAP data is consistent so you have a better chance of showing there. And of course, you want to make sure that you're showing in top organic listings. And then also, you want to reconsider your marketing strategy and your marketing mix to possibly include pay-per-click advertising. And although there are a lot of advantages to pay-per-click advertising, it does ensure that you are at the very top because that is prime real estate. No, there are hardly any organic listings that show above paid results. In fact, I don't even think they do anymore. So really what you're doing is you're at the very, very top of the page even before the snack pack if you decide to go in for pay-per-click advertising. And then also you'll want to make sure that you optimize for search engines so that you absolutely dominate that page. If you are in the snack pack, in organic listings, and in pay-per-click, really you're taking real estate away from your competitors and giving them a not as much of an opportunity to show on that page at all. Okay, so let's talk about what are some things, some quick things, top things that you could do right now to improve your rankings. And let's see, the first would be to have a mobile-friendly website. So um, we've been talking about this, I want to say, for about a year and a half now. Google actually made mobile friendliness a ranking factor, and I'll go into more depth in that in part 2 of this series. But really what this means is that you'll want to make sure that your website is displaying correctly on a mobile device. And let me show you how to do that. So let's say, okay, let's go to CPA Site Solutions. So I pulled up my Chrome browser. Those of you that don't use Chrome, I would definitely recommend that you install and start using it. A lot of the browsers are quickly getting updated, so if you're not using either Firefox or Chrome, by all means start using it. Anyway, here we have our site, CPA Site Solutions, and this is how you could tell whether it is mobile friendly. Don't worry about this part over here, you don't need this. Here at this very top, you'll get an option to look at your site on different devices. So let's say I choose an iPhone 6. It's going to show you the developer side of things, and it'll show you what your website actually looks like on a mobile device. And you can switch to an iPhone 5, Galaxy S5, pretty much any mobile device, tablets included. You can add that later, just to see if you're mobile friendly. So how do you know? Well, as you can see here, the images are adjusted to fit the screen size. The layout is maintaining its integrity. The design is maintaining its integrity, and you can read everything that's on here. So that's how you make sure that you are have a mobile-friendly site. Okay. The next thing is going to be to claim and update your Google Maps. I've been going on and on about Google, and it is the top directory for a reason. It's, obviously it tells people where to go on their GPS, so you'll want to make sure that that's right if they're using Google's GPS. And of course, Google is going to show their own product, so it is the top directory. You'll want to claim your profile, and really what that is it's just taking ownership over it. So go to gybo.com, and that'll walk you through the steps to claim it. And then if you want to read more about duplicates, if you know you have duplicates and want to take care of them, we actually have a blog post that says why duplicates are bad for your accounting SEO, and I'll teach you how, it teaches you how to get rid of them. And then finally, start writing, create new content, update your content. One way to do that is by creating a blog and updating your blog, and that is something that we can implement on a lot of our members' sites with a WordPress blog that's integrated into your site. So that would be a very easy way to update your content on your website. Okay, so when you guys get this slide presentation tomorrow in your inbox, I provided a couple more resources for you if you're interested in reading a little bit more about SEO, if you'd like to look at some more on-demand webinars that talk about pay-per-click. And then, of course, there are some white papers that you can download if you are new to SEO and you just want a dictionary to explain what everything means, or you want to read a little bit more about backlinks or how local SEO works for your firm. Those are all provided here for you. Okay, and then of course we're always here to help you. We do have some deals for people that attended this webinar, so by all means please talk to your account advisor, let them know that you attended the webinar if you'd like to get started with SEO. Right now is the perfect time to start with SEO. It does take some time to get going, so if it's something that you would like help with and are considering, reach out to your account advisor and let them know so that they can work something out for you. At this time, I have a couple of minutes for questions. So if you guys want to submit your questions and then go to webinar panel, I can get some of those answered for you live right now. Okay, this is a really good question. I'm really glad that Christine, you asked this. It says if we have multiple staff with memberships to professional organizations, say the AICPA, and all have a backlink to our website, is that identified as black hat practices? No, because the websites from like the AICPA are legitimate websites. And if you all have a membership there and you're all pointing to the same website, really what you're telling Google is that you're very relevant because you have a lot of people that work for you. So no, that is not at all black hat. Black hat would be if the website was from Russia and you couldn't really read the copy and the copy didn't make sense and there's this random link back to your website. That's ultimately, quintessentially a black hat backlink. And then I do want to remind you guys that you will be receiving this recording and a copy of the slideshow presentation with all of those links to all of our resources for you guys tomorrow in your inbox. So if you guys want to review this presentation or just go through the slides, this will be there for you as a resource. Um, and this is also a very good question. Is SEO not included with the regular website subscription? No. So when you buy a website from us, we do some light optimization to your three most important pages, which are going to be your home page, your services page, and your contact page. And we'll optimize the page title and some content here and there. But really, as you can see, SEO is a lot more than just throwing a few keywords into your website. So that is an add-on service because it is more work. So if this is something that you are interested in, I would talk to your account advisor and they can work out some pricing that fits your needs. And like I said, mention this webinar to see if we can work something out for you. Okay. We did go a little bit over the allotted time. You guys had a lot of good questions, so thank you all for joining. I'm going to hang in here for just a couple of minutes, but at this point I'm going to end the presentation and the audio version of this presentation. Thank you all for coming. If you have any questions, I'll be here in the next 5 minutes or so to answer any questions you have. And we hope to see you for part 2 and 3. Thank you.